Shortcuts are a great way to increase your productivity when you notice that you're selecting the same commands over and over throughout the day. Now, shortcuts are listed next to the menu items, and many commands have shortcuts assigned to them, but a lot of them don't. And we can customize those, which we'll do in just a minute. First, just to decipher them, I want to point out that this icon right here is the Command key on Mac or Control key on Windows. This is the Option on Mac or Alt on Windows, and this arrow is going to be the Shift key. So if I want to open just a new blank document, I can use Command-N on Mac or Control-N on Windows instead of having to find it from the menus. But since not every command or every tool has a shortcut, we can create our own custom keyboard shortcuts. Now, one of the things I do all the time is I go under the Window menu and I choose Arrange, and then I have to select from this menu. Instead of wasting the time doing that, because the two options I use most often are Consolidate All to Tabs and Tile, I'm going to create a custom keyboard shortcut for those. Underneath the Edit menu, we'll scroll down to Keyboard Shortcuts, and you'll notice that we can customize the keyboard shortcuts not only for application menus, but also panel menus, tools, and task spaces. So under Application Menus, let's scroll down until we see the Window option, right? That's the Window menu right up here. I'll use the disclosure triangle in order to view all of the different commands, and move down to Consolidate All to Tabs and a Tile. Then over to the right, I'm going to click underneath where it says Shortcut. Now we can assign our own custom keyboard shortcut. In this case, I'm going to use the shortcut Command-Shift-T, and I just type that in order to get that into this dialog. It's telling me that that shortcut is already in use, but I don't often use Edit Transform again, so I'm going to accept it. Then for Consolidate All to Tabs, I'll want something close to Command-Shift-T, so let's do Command-Shift-R, and I'll think of that in my head as Return to Single Image. Again, it's warning me that it's already in use for filter lens correction, but again, I'm going to go ahead and accept that. So now we have our two custom keyboard shortcuts. Now, before I show you how to save these, I also want to just point out under the Tools options, in the previous video, we talked about changing the keyboard shortcuts, which would be the same as doing it here. However, if we scroll down to the bottom, I'd like to point out that there are a number of actions that tools can do that you can also assign keyboard shortcuts to. So for example, if you are using the color mixer and you want to load that or clean that brush, you can assign a custom keyboard shortcut to that. In fact, there's a custom keyboard shortcut here. N will toggle the preview mode, but I don't use that very often. So I'm going to scroll up. And let's assign that to the foreground color picker. So now I'll tap N and I'll say, yes, that's fine. I want to accept that. And then if I wanted to save this out, we can see here that it's been modified. I would click on this first icon here and then save the keyboard shortcuts in their default location. Again, I'll just give this a quick name and then choose Save. All right. Now, instead of using the menu items, I'm going to use Command-N or Control-N to create a new document. I'll go ahead and just choose the default size and then select Create. And now we can use the keyboard shortcut Command-Shift-T in order to tile. That'd be Control-Shift-T on Windows, and then Command or Control-Shift-R to return to single image. If you ever forget these, we can use the Window menu and go back to Arrange, and Photoshop has added the custom keyboard shortcuts to the right of the command. I could also tap the N key, and that would bring up the foreground color picker since we assigned that as well. So although creating custom keyboard shortcuts might seem like a minor thing when you're first starting to learn Photoshop, as you become more advanced, you're really going to want to access your tools and your menu items much more quickly, and customizing the keyboard shortcuts is one of the most productive ways that you can do that.